Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuhu. Subject Computer Science for 11th Standard C Section, Chapter 10 Flow of Controls Part 3. Last class we discussed about selection statement where we learned two selection statement if and switch, and also we learned that the if else, nested if else ladder, alternative for if else, and in this session we are going to see and learn the iteration statement. So and also going to learn the jump statement. There are three iteration statement or loop statement in C++. One is for loop, second while loop, third one do loop, and there are three jump statement. One is go to, another one is break, and third one is continue statement. Let's start our class. So first thing, iteration statement. It is also called as loop statement. It is a sequence of one or more statements that are repeatedly executed until a condition is satisfied. So this is the only one statement in any programming language where a same or a group of statements are executed more than one times depending upon a condition. The main purpose of this iteration statement or looping statement is to reduce the length of the program, reduce the time execution time and compiling time of the program, and it also take very less memory space. So these are the three main reasons why languages use this statement. Number one, to reduce the size of the program. Number two, to reduce the time of the execution and compiling of the program. Number three, to reduce the memory space occupation of the any program. So in C++, there are three iteration statement. One is for, while, and do while. All looping statements have some common criteria or some common elements which we first learn. After that, we go for the separate looping statement. So all looping statement repeats a statement as long as the specific condition is remain true. The specific condition is referred to as a loop control. The condition which is used to check the iteration or loop statement is called the loop control statement. For all three loop statement, a true condition is any non-zero value and a zero value shows a false condition. So in C++ programming languages, a true condition is an any non-zero value, and zero value refers to false and non-zero value refers to true statement. Different parts of the loop statement. There are four important parts in every loop statement. One is initialization expression, second one is test expression, third one is update expression, fourth one is body of the loop. So first one is initialization expression. The initialization expression means the control variable, that is the variable by which we are controlling the loop statement, is initialized. This statement execute only once at the beginning of the loop only. So initialization expression means the variable which is used to control the loop statement, that is number of times the loop going to execute, is depend upon the condition. In that condition, the variable which is used, that variable is initialized in this section, that is initialization expression. So the initialization expression is executed only once in the beginning of the loop. So the next second expression is test expression. Is an expression with any relational operator like less than, greater or equal to, less than or equal to. So any condition we can give here. So in this expression evaluate each and every time whenever loop exit or end of the first loop. So here you can see if the test expression is expression or condition whose value decide whether the loop body will be execute or not. If the expression evaluate as true, then it will execute the loop body, otherwise the loop body is not going to execute. The test expression is evaluated before entering into a loop, whereas an exit control loop, the test expression is evaluated before exit from the loop. So there are two types of loop. One is exit control, another one is entry control. Exit control means The evaluation of the text expression is placed at the end of the loop. In entry expression control loop means this text expression is evaluated first, and depending upon the evaluation, loop body execute. We will see detail in the upcoming topics. So here, first understand that text expression is an expression where we check the condition for any loop. So next one is update expression. So update expression is evaluated every time at the end of the loop after the body of the loop executed. So each and every time whenever a loop is executed and all the body statements are executed, before to check the test expression, update expression is executed. So this is the third important expression of any loop body. Next one, the body of the loop. So body of the loop is a single or a set of statement which are executed repeatedly. So there was a two types of loop. One is entry control loop. First, the test expression is evaluated, and if it is non-zero, then the body of the loop is executed. Otherwise, the loop is terminated. Another loop is exit control, where the body of the loop is executed first, then the condition is or the text expression is evaluated. So very simple. Entry control loop means test of the expression is checked first and body of the loop is executed if the expression is evaluated as non-zero. And exit control loop means body of the loop is executed and the text expression is evaluated after the execution of the body of the loop. If that expression either returns zero or non-zero, then there is no matter, but the body of the loop execute at least once. So we will see one by one all these exit and entry check loop. So first understand these four important parts of the loop. Number one, the initialization expression. Number two, text expression. Number three, body expression. Number four, update expression. Now we will see the for loop extra. The for loop comes under entry control check loop. It means the condition is evaluated. That means the test expression is evaluated before the body of the loop is executed. So that's why the for loop comes under entry control loop. So it contains three different statements: initialization, condition, text expression. See the syntax, how we can use the for loop in C++. So first we want to use the for keyword. After the within the parentheses we should mention three elements, that is initialization, number two text expression, and update expression. All these three elements are separated by semicolon. So these the rules. That's why it is called a syntax. Syntax means there was some rule for to follow. Depending upon the language, the syntax rules may vary. After that, we open the brace symbol and then we use statement 1, statement 2, and then we close the brace statement. So the statement which was enclosed between these open and closed braces are called body of the loop. So here you can see the four component or four element of any loop: initialization expression, text expression, update expression, and this one is the body of the expression. This is the statement X. It always execute whether the condition is false or loop execute or not execute. But after the for loop execution complete, statement X will execute automatically. So we can understand this by the flow chart. Here you can see the initialization statement execute very first time, and it is execute only once when the loop starts. After that, test expression evaluated. If it returns non-zero, then body of the loop execute and update statement will update expression or update statement will execute. Again, the state expression execute for the second time. If the second time also the test expression returns non-zero, that is true, then body of the loop execute. Again, the update statement execute. Again, the test expression evaluate for the third time. So in this process, that is checking text expression. If it returns true, then executing body, and after that updating statement, again going for text expression. It always runs over more than one times depending upon the expression. If the test expression returns any zero value, that is false value, then this statement, that is the loop statement, will exit and go for the next statement called statement X. We can understand this for loop by using two programs, one is 10.7 and 10.8. So first to open the C++ program and then open the program name 10.7, which is already written and compiled by me. So here, after opening C++, open the file 10.7. So here you can see the 10.7 program shows how to use a simple for loop. So the purpose of the program is to display the numbers from 0 to 9. So these statements are same. So first we use IOStream header file, after that name statement, after that here we open main program, and then here we declare a variable int I. So this is the variable called a control variable, which evaluate each and every time in the for loop, which controls the for loop statement, because we use this I for executing the for loop expression. So here you can see the three statements: initialization, text expression, updation. And after that you can see there was only one line in the statement. So this is the only line which is going to execute for this for loop. If you want to add more than one line, you should use braces, otherwise you can omit the braces. For the simple explanation, we didn't use here braces, because to understand, if any for loop or any loops contain single statement for execution as a body of the statement, then there is no necessary to include the open brace or close brace. If you add a open brace or close brace, there was no error, but you have an option for omitting the open brace and close brace for any loop when you use a single statement in body of the loop. So for better understanding the better programming technique, you should use the braces for each and every loop. So here I use the braces. So here you can see the four component of loop. One is initialization, test expression, update expression, and body of the loop. So as we already know, initialization execute only once when the program evaluate or for loop execute for first time, and when the first time starts, the value of the I is 0, and then text expression is evaluated. Here you can see the condition I less than 10. Of course, when first time loop stops, value of the I is 0, so condition becomes true, so the body of the loop will execute. So you can see in the body of the loop there was only one statement, that is value of I, and we print the value of I here. So when first time loop start, the value of the I is 0, so 0 will print, and the loop body of the loop is end and exit. So after that, update statement or update expression will execute. So I plus plus, we know the plus plus operator, the increment operator ever increase the value of the I, that is last time value of the I is 0, now it becomes 1. After update expression is evaluated, it go for the test expression. So here in second time, when test expression is execute, value of the I is 1. So value of the I is 1. So for a better understanding, you can write a write the loop statement, how it will execute and each and every time. So very first time value of the I is 0, and this will print on the screen. After that, when we evaluate the update expression, increase the value of I, so it becomes 1. Now this condition becomes again true, and value of the I is print on the screen. After that, update expression will increase. Now value of the I becomes 2. So again the condition becomes true, because still I value of less than 20. Again the statement will print. So after printing this statement, the update expression increase the value of the I, so it becomes 3. So in the same way, the value of the I is each and every time increment till the value of the I becomes the 9. So consider when the value of the value of the I is 9. So after the evaluation of this body of the statement, it go to update expression. So when update expression reach increase the value of the I from 9 to 10, and test expression is evaluated in this here in this statement, in this status, when value of the I is 10, and when we check the condition test expression, now the value this test expression becomes false because value of the I is 10 and we check the value 10 less than 10, so condition becomes false, so the loop terminates and go for the return statement. So here I am going to add a statement called xxxx statement to explain that this statement will execute always whenever the loop exit from the statement. Now I'm going to compile this program and run the program. Now here you can see the output. So as I explained now, in the same way this program will check and output will be displayed on the screen. So here you can see value of I is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. And when I value reaches 9 and after that update expression is executed, I becomes 10. So at that time this condition becomes false. So it comes out from the for loop and print this statement. This statement will print always whenever the loop is terminate. So whether whether it loops run for 4 times or 5 times, it is not the concern. So for example, if you want to run the program, run this loop for 5 times, I want to print the number from 0 to 5, then change the expression condition, test expression condition, that is I less than 5. When you run this program after changing the test expression, here you can see the output 0 to 4. So because when I becomes 5, then this condition becomes false. If you want to print the 5 value itself from the 5 value also, then you can add the expression as less than or equal to 5. So here I change the text expression, that is I less than or equal to 5. That's why you can see that output runs display the number between 0 to 5 because the text expression is less than or equal to 5. So you understand I hope you understand very well that the four components plays a very vital role in each and every loop statement, that is initialization, expression, update expression and body of the expression. All these elements are available in each and every loop. So here you can see test expression is evaluated first. After when the test expression is true, then only body of the loop is executed. So that's why it is called entry check loop or entry control loop, because text expression is evaluated very first. But in the upcoming topics you can see the exit control loop also. First the second program which we are going to understand for loop is 10.8, where we are using a different type of loop statement. So here we use the same I loop to check the control loop. We use same statements, but here what we do is we change the initialization value as 1 and we change the expression, that is the test expression, as less than or equal to. So from this statement, from this expression itself, we can able to understand this loop is going to work for 10 times from 1 to 10, and each and every time what will it do, it simply add the sum value, that is it will simply add the value of I with the sum each and every time. So when first starts, value of the I is 1, at that time sum value of the sum is 0, so 0 plus 1 1. And when second loop start, value of the sum is 1, I value is 2, so 1 plus 2 3. So here you can see when the first when the first time loop start, value of the I is 1, but value of the sum is 0. Value of the sum is 0. After evaluating the program, that is sum plus I, then it becomes 1. And when the second time evaluate, some value of the sum is 1, so 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. In the same way, when we run for the third time, then it becomes 6. In this way, all this number will one by one add and updated with this sum variable, and after executing the program, we will display this program will display the sum of 1 to 10 number as a output. So now I'm going to run the program. Here you can see the loop will execute automatically and display only the result. That is, the sum of 1 to 10 is 55. So it simply add all the numbers between 1 to 10 and display the result as 55. If you want to doubt, if you have any doubt, then check it by giving the simple input. So for example, here you can change it as a 3 or 4. Now run the program. So we are going to add the number between 1 to 4. So 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 4, 10. So now here you can see the result 10. So this is the for loop method of using different how we can use the for loop in different styles. Now we are going to see the next topic in our syllabus, that is variation of for loop. So for loop is one of the flexible loop statement when compared to other loop statements like do while and while. Uh, because of this flexibility, it can be used in with different variation, like multiple initialization and multiple update expression can be used in a single for loop. For example, here you can see in this loop there are two initialization are used. So for this two initialization we use the comma. After that the initialization statement complete, we use this semicolon. And here you can see the test expression is 1, but update expressions are 2. For in updates expression, one variable is incremented and another variable is decremented. So here we can understand how this loop execute by this program 10.9, where we use the multiple initialization and multiple updation. So open the program 10.9. So here you can see two variables are used as a two control variables. So here when the value of the I is 0 and value of the j is 1, sorry 10. So when the first two loop starts as a initialization value of the I is 0 and value of the j is 10. So by this initialization expression we can understand. So when you use more than one initialization, then at that time you should separate each and every initialization expression by comma, and when you complete the initialization expression, then you should use the semicolon. In the same way, when you use more than one update expression, you should separate each and every update expression by using comma. So here you can see the condition I less than j, of course. So 0 is less than j. So now the value of the I is printed on the screen and value of the j is printed on the screen. After that update expression is evaluated. Here value of the I is incremented by 1 and value of the j is decremented by 1. So it means in for loop we can use both decrement and increment operator, and decrement operator can be used as a update expression. So the for the easy understanding only, here we are using two decrement and increment operators are used here for two different initialization. After that, again the test expression is evaluated. Now the condition becomes true because 1 is less than 9. Again the value of the I and j is printed on the screen. So 1 9 will print. Again value of the is incremented by 2 and j is decremented by 8. So in the same way 2 and 8 will display on the screen. Again it will increment by 3, j will decrement by 1. So again 3 and 7 print on the screen. Again it will incremented, I will incremented by 4 and j will decremented by 5, sorry 6. Now again I will incremented by 5 and j will decremented by 5. So from 6 to 5 it is decremented. Now the condition becomes false because value of the I is 5 and value of the j is 5. It is not less than. So now in this status this loop will exit and return 0. So all this value from 1 to 6, all this value will print one by one. So from 0 to 6, all the value will printed on the screen. So now I'm going to run the program. You can see the output. So here you can see 010 192837 646. See here, 010 192837 6. When the I values becomes 5 and j values becomes 5, this loop will terminate. So if you want to print this value also, then you can use this condition in a different manner. So here you simply add it as a I less than or equal to I less than or equal to j. So when you run this program, here you can see the 5 value also print on the screen. After that the loop will exit. So here you can see the 5 value will be implemented and display on the screen, because here we change the test expression as less than or equal to, but before that the test expression only have less than statement. So here I change the text expression as I less than j. Now when I run the program, you can see only the value up to 4, and I becomes 4 and j becomes 6. So this is how we can use the for loop in different variety, where we can use two initialization value and two update expressions. Now we are going to discuss the next type of for loop, where we can use prefer prefix operator over postfix. Generally, the update operation expression contains increment and decrement operator. In this part, always prefer prefix increment or decrement operator over postfix when to be used alone. The reason behind this is that when used alone, prefix or execute faster than postfix. So this is the in simple explanation about the using the operator. The best method for using the operator, that is increment or decrement operator, is recommendable as prefix, not as postfix. Now next variation is optional expression. Optional expression means we can remove any one of the or more than one expression from the loop statement. So in this example, you can see two statements are omitted. One is initialization, another one is update expression. Without using the initialization and expression, and we are skipping the initialization and update expression, we can use the for loop. How? We can understand through the program 10.10. So open the C++ program, the 10.10, where we are going to see how we can use the for loop without using initialization and update expressions. So here you can see three variables are declared. One is I, another one is sum, another one is n. So n is the variable to which was accepted at the time of execution from the user and stored in the variable n, and here we use the initialization. Instead of using the initialization here, we use out of the for loop. So here I is equal to 1 is the initialization statement. Actually this statement should be used here, but here also we can use, before for starting any loop we can use the for initialization. And in the for loop you can see initial statement is omitted or skipped, only we use the text expression. In the same way, update statement or update expression also skipped, and we use the update expression inside the for loop. So here you can see the update statement is used, but it was not used in that particular place where it was allotted, but actually it was used within the for loop. So when you omit or skip the update expression, then that update expression should be used within that for loop or any loop. So instead of using the post increment, here we use prefix as a increment operator, because it will it will induce the speed of the program. That's why here we use the prefix increment operator for update expression. So actually we use update expression, sorry, initialization expression, test expression, update expression here, but in different manner. This is the variety of the using for loop. So when I run the program, you can see this program will ask to enter a number. If I enter 5, then it will give the answer and the sum of 1 to 5 and is 15. If I enter the value as 10, then this program will add all the numbers between 1 to 10 and display the result as 55. So the only difference in the when comparing with the previous program is, in this program we accept the n value from the user at the time of execution, but in previous programs we decide itself and give the initialization, that is end of the loop statement at the time of the writing the program itself. So this is the use of using for loop in different variety. Now we are going to see how we can use the for loop in an infinite loop. Infinite loop means there is no finite. This loop will not going to terminate at all. It will execute always one by one, and it will display some error. How? When this infinite loop will execute when you skip the test expression. If you skip the test expression, or if you skip all the expression in for loop, then this loop becomes infinite. For example, in this program which we learn now, if you remove this the text expression from the here and go to execute command and compile the program, don't run the program, just compile the program. So here the compiling process starts. You can see there was no error. Actually we didn't use test expression here, but it shows there is no error. But it means we can use the loop, infinite loop also if we want. So if you run the program here and run the program here, when you enter the 5 value, you can see the loop will execute automatically. It is still executing one by one, and there was no finite number because there was no test expression. That's why this loop is not going to end at all. So this is one of the method of using infinite loop, where we can skip the test expression. Here we give initialization expression. We already given the update expression, but here we didn't give the text expression. Then it becomes the infinite loop. In the same way, when you remove all these statements, for example, a very simple loop can also use here as an infinite statement. We simply copy this program and write into a new program to understand how we can give the infinite loop statement. For example, here I am going to remove all the expression, that is initialization expression, test expression, infinite expression, and I try to type print only one thing, hello. This is infinite. So this statement will print again and again, and when you run the program you can see the output hello, this is infinite will going on printing on the screen, and there was no uh, exit point for the loop because there is no text expression, there is no initialization, there is no updation. So this type of loop is called infinite loop. So we cannot stop this loop without using jump statement. So yeah, you understand why we use them statement, that is we are going to learn at the end of this lesson. So I hope you understand what is infinite loop, the loop which is not going to finish or which is not going to end. So next one, the important topic which you are going to learn is empty loop. The empty loop means the loop which have all the expression. It have initialization, it have update expression, it have uh, test expression, even it have body of the expression, but it is not going to execute when you use semicolon at the loop statement. For example, in this here you can see initialization, test expression, update expression, but at the end of the loop when you use the semicolon, the body of for loop contains a null statement. They are the body, if the body contains any statement, it is this loop is not going to execute at all. That is called the null statement. So open the C++ program. Here we know this statement contains this statement contains all the necessary information related to loop. For example, initialization, test expression, update expression, and body of the loop. So now in this program, I simply entered a semicolon at the end of the statement. When I compile, you can see there was no errors, no warnings, and when I run the program, you can see the value of the n will print on the screen. I enter the file and there was no output because this loop is null statement and this loop is not going to execute at all. So this is the method of using null statement in C++ or empty statement. Next one, declaration of variable in for loop. So instead of using initialization statement at the time at the place of initialization statement itself, we can declare that variable. So in previous program we know how to use initialization statement. See here we use initialization statement, but here we declare and here we use. If you want, you can omit this line and simply add this line inside here. You simply declare the variable in the initialization statement itself and you can use that. It is just like a variable comes under a dynamic variable, that is a variable declared and initialized at the time itself when the variable create. So then this program is not at all show any error. So here you can see there was an initialization statement shows error because we use two initialization statement. That's why it shows error. If you want it, you can use it in single initialization statement where we can declare the variable at the place of initialization. So here you can see there was only one initialization expression. When I run the program, you can see there was no error. So it will display simply output. So this is called the variable using declaring a variable in the for loop. Now we are going to see the next loop called while loop. This loop is also comes under entry control loop because this loop will check the test expression at the beginning of the loop and evaluate the text expression. If the text expression is true, then only body of the loop will execute, otherwise body of the loop is not going to execute. Each and every time whenever the test expression is executed, if it returns true, then it will execute body of the loop. It returns false, then it will terminate the loop and come to next statement. So by using this program 10.11 and 10.2, we can understand how we can use the while loop. And as usual, here you can see here we use the initialization statement. This is the test expression, this is the update expression within the body of the loop. Now I am going to run the program. Same, this loop is also add the number from 1 to 10 and display the result. The only difference is we use while, we didn't use for loop. So here we use the while loop. So while loop contains only one statement within the bracket, that is text expression. In while loop we cannot use initialization and update expression within this bracket. So initialization should be declared before the loop starts, and update expression should be used at the end of the body of the loop. So this is the rule of using the while loop, and other working principles are same to for loop. So now I'm going to run the program. Here you can see the same result. The sum of 1 to 10 is 55. In the same way, we are using the same while loop in different style. Here we use the while loop I less than 5, and we are going to here we initialize the program. Here we use the update expression. Here we use the text expression. Within the body of the loop, we add all the numbers. After adding all the numbers between 1 to 5, we get out from the while loop and find the average, and we display the sum and average of the numbers between 1 to 5 to the user. So here I'm going to enter the number 1, 2, 5, 75, 96. So this program is going to accept 5 different numbers from the user and add all the numbers and store the number in the sum value. After that, when uh, this loop comes out and go to the next statement, here we find the average and display the sum and average. So within this program, so here you can see in the while loop, this loop will accept 5 numbers from the user. For each and every time it will ask the number and this number is going to store in the num. After that, these numbers are added with the sum variable. So again I run the program. So here we can add our 10th mark also to find the total. For example, 78, 96, 54, 75. So in this manner you can see the total of your 10 mark, as well as you can also calculate the average of your 10th mark. So this is how we can use the while loop. In the same way, this while loop can be used in variety. One is empty loop. So where empty loop is loop where we don't have the body. If you remove the body, then loop will execute by using the initialization expression, by using the text expression, by using the update expression, but it is not going to end at all because this is an empty loop and it is not going to execute any statement. So while loop may contain several variations, it can be empty or infinite. If empty loop means there should not be body of the loop. If the while loop contains any if the while loop is skipped the uh, update expression, then is this variable is not, this loop is becomes infinite variable. For example, here we go for the same program where we are using the initialization value as 1 and text expression where we are using the while loop for running the infinite loop. So here we check the initialization, sorry, text expression I less than or equal to 5. That means 5 times it should run. So, but we didn't use the update expression. What will happen? So here you can see we use the initialization, we use the test expression, we have body of the expression, but we didn't use the update expression. Now when I run the program, this loop will execute going on is going this loop is going on executing because there was no update expression. That's why this loop becomes infinite. So this is how we can use the while loop as an infinite loop. In the same way, if you have body of the loop but you didn't give any if you have update expression but you didn't give any body value. So for example, here I simply give I plus plus, sorry, but I remove this statement. What will happen? So when you run the program, it shows 0 errors and 0 warnings, but there was no output from the body of the loop, from the while loop, because there was no body of the loop component in this loop. That's why it is called empty loop. So that loop does not have body of the loop component, then it becomes empty loop. In the same way, when any while loop didn't have update expression, then it becomes infinite loop. This is the simple definition which we can understand through this example. Now we are going to see the third loop called do while loop. So this is the only one loop comes under exit control loop. It means the for loop and while loop, all the loops comes under entry check loop because this loop evaluate the text expression first. If the text expression returns the non-zero value or true value, then body of the loop will execute. But do while will execute the body of the expression first and evaluate the text expression at the end of the loop. In the syntax you can see here do open brace close brace is the body of the loop. Here the test expression is given. So very first Body of the loop will execute and the condition checked. If the condition is false or true, there is no matter for first time when loop execute. So if the condition becomes true, then it will go for update expression, again they will execute. But for the first time, this body of the loop will execute at least once because the condition is checked or the test expression is checked at the end of the loop. So now by using the 10.13 we can understand this do while loop, that is exit control check loop, where we use the test expression at the end of the loop. So here this is initialization, this is body of the loop, this is the update expression, and this is the text expression. So this loop is going to work in the decrement order. That's why initialization value is 10. That's why here we use in the update expression the decrement operator, that is n minus minus, and we check the condition n greater than 0. That is, whenever the value of the n is greater than 0, then only this loop will execute, otherwise it is not going to execute. So now I'm going to run the program. You can see the value from 10 to 0, all the value printed one by one. So here you can see 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1. When the value of the n becomes 0, then the condition becomes false. So when the condition becomes false at the time of initialization itself, then also the first time the loop will execute at least once. So here you can see n less than 0. So here we can see the value of the n is 10. So when 10 is less than or 0, of course not. So condition becomes false, but the output will execute only one times and it will display the value 10. Either the condition is true or false, but the first two loop statement output statement will be displayed on the screen because this do while loop comes under exit control, because text expression is evaluated at the end of the loop after executing the body of the loop. So I hope I understand the very simple difference between exit control and entry control loops. Now we are going to see the next topic called nesting of loops. Nesting means using a loop within a loop. So here you can see we can use for loop within a for loop, we can use while loop within a while loop, we can use do loop within a do loop. So now we are going to understand this nesting of loop using 10.1.4, using 10.14 program. So open the program 10.14 where we use two loops. One for uh, for loop which is called outer loop, another one is called another for loop which is called inner loop. The only difference between the two loop is the control variables are different. For outer loop we use the C as control variable. For inner loop we use I as the inner variable. What actually we are going to do here is we are running the loop for loop first, and that is outer loop first, and run the inner loop for uh, more than 10 times. So here you can see when the C value is 1, this loop becomes true and it will display an inner loop will execute from 1 to 0 till the value of the C is 1. So this in this program we are going to understand, we are going to create a multiplication table. So when you see the output you can understand very well. So here you can see the output of the table. So here a multiplication table. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 9. All these numbers are created by the C control variable, that is the outer loop. So this outer loop will be evaluated each and every time and display on the screen by using this simple statement. After that we simply multiply all the C value with the I value. So this is the C value, this is the I value. So C into I1, C into I2, C into I3, C into 4I, C into 5I, C into 6I, C into 7, 8, 7, C into 8, 8, C into 9, 9. So in this way the first loop will execute, and When the first loop ends, it will go for the next line, and again the value of the C becomes 2, and here this 2 will printed, and after that the I loop initialize for the second time. So now 2 into 1, 2, 2 into 2, 4, 2 into 3, 6, 2 into 4, 8, 2 into 5, 10, 2 into 6, 12. So I loop will execute for 100 times, whereas C loop will execute only 10 times. So because each and every time whenever C loop execute, all the I loop will execute for full times, that is from 1 to 10. So this is the simple example for nested loop. I hope you understand the concept of using the nested loop. Now we are going to see the next loop called jump statements. What is called jump statement? Jump statement is otherwise called as an interrupt statement. It will simply interrupt the loop statements. There are three jump statement. One is go to, another one is break, another one is continue statement. First, we will discuss the go to statement, which is a control statement which is used to transfer the control flow from one place to another place. The place which you are going to transfer, that should be labeled. So there are two methods of using the go to statement. Here, go to label name. So label name should be used first at the end of the statements, and here we use the label first and go to statement used next. That is, go to can be used as forward jump or backward jump. That is up to our level, but we should use the label for using the go to statement. So here by using the 10.15 we can understand this program, how we can use the go to statement. So open the program 10.15. Here you can see we use the label called jump. This is the label. Label can be identified by the symbol colon. So in the if statement we use the go to statement. In if statement, we check whether the value of the n is less than 10 and print the value and increment the value by 2. After that, we use go to statement. So, go to statement, go to jump statement again, and it will evaluate second time when value of the n is incremented from 1 to 2, that is, it becomes 3. So, the value of the n is 3 will print on the screen. Again, value of the 3 is incremented 5, and go to statement simply transfer this flow here in this place. Again the if statement evaluate. In this time value of the n is 3. Again 3 will print because the condition is 2. Sorry, 5 will print and 5 will incremented by 7. And again jump go to statement transfer the flow to the jump. Again now value of the n is 7, and 7 will print and evaluated by 2, incremented by 2, and it becomes 9. So in the same way, when the value becomes 9, this condition, when the value of the n becomes 11, this condition becomes false, then only it go for else part. So here, and I'm going to run this program, you can see how this if statement works like a loop. So here 1 3 5 7 9. So because of using the go to statement in backward, so we can control the flow of the any program from one area to another area by simply using the labels. The next which we are going to understand is break statement. Break statement should be used within the loop statement. This loop statement, that is this break statement simply transfer to resume the normal execution after the body of the loop is executed. So here we can see initialization expression 1, expression 2, condition becomes true and it will run the program, and here the break statement execute and it will simply terminate the loop and get out from the loop and go for the next statement. In the same way we can use the break statement in while also. In the same way we can use the break statement in do while also. So if you use the break statement within the loop, then it will simply terminate that loop, stop that loop at the beginning or at the end or at any position, and get out from the loop. So now we are going to understand the program concept of using break statement using the program 10.16. Here you can see we use the do loop, that is exit control loop. It will going to print the value from 1 to 20, because initialization value is 1 and control in the text expression you can see the 20, and in the body of the loop you can see count value is printed. So each and every time the value is printed, and here we update the value by using the increment operator. But when the count value reaches to 3, it will simply terminate the do while loop and get out from the loop. So when I run the program, you can see only the three statements 1, 2, 3, 4, because 4 is also print, because either the condition is true or false, it is not a matter, but the statement will print because it is an exit control loop. If you want to print the point at the particular point 3, then you can use greater than or equal to 3 statement. Here when I run the program, you can see only up to 3 numbers will print on the screen. At the time value becomes 4, it will exit. So this is called the break statement. So break statement simply terminate. Break statement simply terminate the loop and get out from the loop. But the continue statement is very simple. But continue statement is different from the break statement. That is, the continue statement works quite similar to break. Instead of terminating the loop, it continue statement forces the loop to continue or execute the next iteration. So continue statement terminate that particular iteration but not loop, and it allows to execute the next iteration and go for the update expression and run the loop and allow to run the loop and terminate till the condition test expression becomes false. But break statement simply terminate the loop. Either the test expression is true or false, there was no matter, but break will terminate the loop. But continue will terminate that particular iteration. That particular iteration will terminate and it allows to run the next iteration. For example, here also when we are going to understand the continue statement by using the program 10.17, where we run the loop for loop with initialization, test expression, and increment or decrement expression, where we use the condition if I value is greater than 6, the I value is equal to 6, then that particular iteration, when the I value becomes 6, that particular iteration will be skipped and other statements are allowed to run. That is, all the numbers from 1 to 10 will print, but 6 is not going to print because we use the continue jump statement in this condition where I value becomes 6. So when I run the program, you can see all the numbers between 1 to 10 will print on the screen. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is not printed here because we use the condition jump statement. If I is equal to 6, then continue. It means it is not printed on the screen. It will simply continue to next iteration, not to next statement. So this is the difference between break and continue. Break will terminate the loop, continue will terminate the iteration and allow to run the next iteration till the text expression becomes false. So this is the difference between break and continue statement. So I hope you understand all this concept. So this is the last topic of this session where we understand the difference between break and continue. Break is used to terminate the execution of the loop. Continue is not used to terminate the execution of the loop. It breaks the iteration, it skips the iteration. Difference you can see, breaks means simply cut it. It simply terminate it. It simply stop the loop. But continue will skip that particular iteration. Next, when the statement is executed, control will come out from the loop and execute the statement immediately after loop. When this statement is executed, it will not come out of the loop but moves to next iteration. So break is used with loops as well as switch case. Continue is only used in loop, it is not used in switch case. So break cannot be used. Break can be used in switch statement. We already know in the previous class we understand what is the use of break in switch, and we understand break will simply terminate that particular statement and allow to run the next statement, whereas continue will terminate that particular iteration of that loop and allow to run the next iteration. So I hope you understand the concept of loop and gun jump statement and nested loop statement. So if you have any doubt, contact me through WhatsApp. Clear all your doubts. Prepare the assignment. Send the assignment through WhatsApp. Prepare for public examinations. If you have doubt, clear all your doubts. Best of luck. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.